when I was around 18 to 19 or so, and was sleeping at my girlfriend at the time's place. Her mom, and her mom's boyfriend had all gone somewhere that night, so I was alone with her mom's dog and trying to go to sleep. I'd gone to her bed, while the dog was left out in the living room. A few minutes after I laid down, I heard the back door crash open violently and heavy footsteps walk in through the kitchen. The dog started going crazy. Inspired cabinets being thrown open and drawers being rummaged through. So my first thought was, it was a break-in. So finally, the rummaging stopped and footsteps started coming up the hallway towards the bedrooms. I assumed whoever it was had a knife and things might get violent, so I was trying to stay as quiet as possible. But then, the footsteps stopped outside the mother's bedroom door. The door opened and the footsteps went inside. Then the door closed and there was nothing. Only problem was, the mother was extremely paranoid and had an outside door-style deadbolt in her bedroom door, and she kept it locked when she wasn't home. It was only the one key that I knew of, but the door hadn't even been unlocked. Whoever it was just opened it as it was and went in. The place didn't have an attic or basement, but was elevated a few feet off the ground, so every little step and movement was like a drum, and this room was immediately adjacent to mine. Whoever this was opened a dead-bolted door without unlocking it, stepped only just inside the room, closed the door behind, then just stopped in complete silence. No flicking on the lights, or going over to sit on the bed, or rummaging around in there, or even adjusting their weight and otherwise moving around. It was just a complete silence for the rest of the night. Then, sometime close to dawn, the door opened again, and the footsteps went back down the hall and out the back door. I finally got up to go look at the damage. Mother's bedroom door was still locked. Kitchen was spotless. Back door was closed and showed no sign of forced entry. I asked them about it when they got home, and apparently nothing like that had ever happened to any of them before, because they had no clue what I was talking about and were looking at me like they expected this to be some kind of prank. So, to this day, I still have no answers. Last owners of that house before her mom was her grandparents, and I don't think there were any properties on that entire road before 1900. So, who knows? Another less scary one happened later in that house, where I was trying to go to bed and felt a cat nuzzle up against my leg and lie down. Tay didn't, at the time, have any cats, but they used to, and it was light enough that I could clearly see that nothing was there. It came up to me the way a cat would, with the weight adjustment, flopped down. I think the feeling of something being physically there just slowly faded away over a minute or so. It's that time, when I told her about it, she just smiled. I guess she was glad that, at least, one of her old cats was still hanging around. After going from living with my parents for 28 years to buying my first house, I'll admit, it was a bit of a shock to adjust to. This was July of 2022, so very recently that I moved in. So my house is a 30-minute drive from my parents' house, so we're not that far away. In my parents' house, I would constantly be awoken at night by my dad going up and down the stairs. He's basically a chronic insomniac and constantly has to get water or go to the bathroom throughout the night. So having my own place would finally mean peace and quiet. But that doesn't mean my dad didn't pass down his inferior sleeping abilities to me, because I'm a very light sleeper too. The layout of my new house is as follows: a small, unfinished basement with laundry and a boiler room, a first floor with a living room, kitchen, bathroom, and dining room, and the upstairs with 3 bedrooms and a bathroom. One bedroom I use as an office, another one I use as a little workout room. For the first couple of days, my dad was over to help me bring in furniture and set the place up. The bulk of it was done after that. Then it was just minor decorating and smaller things here and there. I'd say a week into moving in, I was practically done with the furnishings and fully at home. On a Sunday night, I could tell I was going to have a rough time trying to sleep because I was wide awake. I took a melatonin and a sleeping pill to help, and within an hour, I was out like a baby. Usually, when I take these, I sleep through the night without waking up. This night, though, I woke up. A sound from outside my room woke me up. I was so dazed and confused, freshly woken up from an intense dream, that I wasn't thinking clearly. The noises from outside my room were familiar footsteps going up the stairs. My dad, as usual, waking me up with his middle-of-the-night trips up and down the stairs. I tried to drown out the noise and ignore it. I was in such a daze that it didn't even hit me right away that those footsteps couldn't be my dad's. I snapped back to reality and sat up, listening. The footsteps stopped. Now that I was fully awake, I wondered if it was an auditory hallucination. Like, was it just something engraved in my memory that I heard in my half-woken up state? I actually, nervously, called out, asterisk, asterisk dad. Asterisk, asterisk. I didn't know what I was expecting to happen, but no one called back. I went out into the hallway outside my room and turned on the lights to each room I passed. I made it to the stairway. And I looked down the stairs at a tall man in a mask at the bottom, looking up at me. It didn't feel like reality that I was actually staring at an intruder in my house. I didn't see any weapons on him, but I wasn't about to go fight him. I screamed at him to asterisk, asterisk, get the F, asterisk, 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 out of my house. Asterisk, asterisk, definitely, with a shake in my voice. Believe it or not, he turned around and left through the front door. I ran down the stairs to lock it behind him. Just as I went to call my dad, I heard the back door to my house slam shut. There was a second person in the house who I didn't see. I was full and freaking out. So my dad picked up, of course, because he's never asleep, and he questioned why I was calling him and not the damn police. They told me to hurry, so I called the police. The operator asked me a million questions while I waited. I was interviewed by the arriving officers, who asked me for a description of the robbery. I think stole if anything and which direction they left in and what vehicle. Unfortunately, I didn't think to watch them leave, so I couldn't even answer what direction they went. I couldn't get the physical description other than one of them was tall, because of the mask. It didn't actually seem like they stole anything, but I didn't have anything of real value on display on the first floor. The method of entry was a kitchen window, just big enough to climb through, experiencing a home. Invasion is something you always hear about on the news, but never assume it would actually happen to you, much less right after you move into your first house. I wish I could have been more help to the police in identifying them. Now, I sleep with a knife next to my bed.